I managed to get it recording a little bit faster this week, so I'm quite proud of myself. Okay. I have so much sun in my face right now, and I'm not going to complain one bit. So I think people are still jumping on. Maybe if I sit back a tiny bit, maybe I can see. Um, Here comes Teddy, just in time. So if you are jumping on, and I have not hit mute on your little screen, please hit mute. Jeff's on his way, so I'm just stalling for a moment just to let the boys get situated. So thank you. So it is awesome to have people coming back for a second week. That's always so positive. It has been a week in my part of the world, so I was like, well, let's see how this goes tonight. Um, so we're gonna do a little bit of heart opening or a lot of heart opening tonight. And really that can be for you a physical practice just to kind of open the chest and kind of take up space, or maybe it's something you need on a spiritual level, maybe it's something you need on an intellectual level. And part of why we would open our heart, think about the yin and the yang in these situations, is that when we open the heart, it allows us not only to express compassion into the world, to kind of shoot that out to the world, but it also allows us to receive, which sometimes that can be the hardest thing to remember, is that we got to balance those out. So, right, Jeff does not believe in balance. He's all about just giving love all the time, um, sometimes to himself. Right, not during the class, please. So tonight is working through all of that kind of conceptual wonderfulness about opening the heart. And if anything during the practice is not feeling good, do not do it. Give yourself a break. You are in your homes or your friends' homes, and that means you can easily transition into something else, hopefully not more enjoyable. So to settle into the practice, I'm sitting on a block because that's comfortable for me. Jeff is sitting on me because that's comfortable for him. And Ted has claimed the cushion and the chair. So we're in good shape. Whatever you are going to sit on, find a point of comfort. We're going to be here for a little bit. So if that needs to be a chair like Teddy has chosen, go for it. And again, when we're thinking about the heart, shoulders up, back, and down. If you really want to get formal, palms up, signaling we are ready to receive. And even the head back a tiny bit, third eye shooting up to the universe. Again, goodness knows I need to receive through third eye. So just close your eyes. Let your shoulders soften away from your ears. Maybe let your neck kind of stretch a little bit further. As you're breathing, allow your face to relax. Allow the jaw to relax. And just let your mind drift. So keep the breath deep and start to go through that little bit of a little bit of self-reflection about what opening the heart might mean for you, how you might want to do that. And then with all of that in mind, think about how you're showing up to the practice this evening. Let's slowly start to open the eyes, but we're going to stay in this seated posture. What I'm going to invite you to do now is a little bit of what we sometimes call a butterfly hug. So place one hand over the heart. It's going to be hard because Jeff would like the other hand, but we have one hand over the heart, the other hand over that hand. And basically, you're going to take a breath in and one hand comes up. And then as we exhale, the hand comes back. Take a breath or two here. Good. Bring the hands a little bit further apart so they're just kind of fingertips on fingertips. And now what I want you to do is a little bit of kind of more rhythmic practice where you're breathing and opening one hand to the side. And then as you're switching the breath, so exhaling, you're kind of passing it over to the other hand. So you're just going to go back and forth in a really quiet, mindful way. And you're thinking about this almost like your hands being the wings of butterflies. So I had kind of a double time going there. And if that's comfortable, you can do that. If you need to slow it right down, you can kind of play around with it. If you're doing this slowly, start to increase the speed and the pace. For a few more breaths, and then bring one hand down to the heart. Take a couple of breaths. And then bring the other hand on top. Take a few breaths. Good. From here, let's move to the hands and the knees. Because we're going to be doing a lot of work in lunges tonight, you might want to have a blanket handy or a towel, or you could double up your mat if that feels like a good idea. Just being mindful of that pressure on your kneecaps. Or maybe you're on carpet and you're fine, but if you're not, grab something. So with your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, and kind of tops of the feet just resting lightly on the floor, I want you to think about starting to really kind of draw up through the core. So really engage, really pull up. And then very slowly start to add a rounded back to that. So we've pulled up and in, and then we're rounding to create space. Let your head drop. And you can start to slowly tuck the hips under, and you should feel some lengthening around the sacrum, just slowly and intentionally. If you're comfortable with the range of motion, chin can come into the chest. And then very slowly, we start to reverse that. So letting the tummy drop down, feel the shoulders moving back, chest is opening, tail is lifting, head is coming up and back. Breathing as you do this. And then move back to a neutral spine. And take a moment, pause here, and think about, was one of those positions easier for you or harder for you? So was it easier to be rounded? Was it easier to be kind of collapsing down with the chest open? And when you think about that, because we're going to pick up the pace on this, but as you think about that, keep going back to that question throughout our postures tonight, because that'll help you in order to open up through the heart. We have to relax through the pectorals, and then we also have to get into the upper back. Let's slowly inhale, head and tail start to lift, dropping the tummy down. And then exhale, starting to pull up and in through the core, rounding the back, head and tail, or tucking under. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, reversing. Inhale, up. Exhale, reversing. A couple more times with this. Inhale. And exhale. Let's breathe in. And out. Again, come to a neutral spine. Step back with one foot. Just press into that toe base as you kind of rock forward and back. You should feel a stretch up the calf muscle. And then from here, step the other foot back and start to move into a downward facing dog. So you're going to very briefly be around a plank and then kind of find your way into however you choose to express downward facing dog tonight. So I'm starting up on the toes, and then I'm going to bend my knees deeply, really dropping through the head. See if you can just tip the tail towards the roof. And then very slowly start to walk the hands back to the feet. And keep your knees bent. My feet are probably about hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider. I'm going to spread my toes out, lift up through the arches, really let your head drop. Be taking deep breaths. You can hold the elbows using the weight of the arms to kind of open the back. And then we're going to bring the hands up to the hips. Press into your feet, keep the knees bent, slowly start to roll and push and lift your way up. And then we're going to bring the shoulders back and kind of take this kind of superhero pose. And start to bring the elbows towards each other, lifting up through the chest. If it's comfortable, you can start to kind of move into a little bit of a back bend here. We're going to be making more of these crescent postures, but kind of just seeing how that feels. Not so different from when we were on the mat, kind of doing the cat-cow, but doing it in standing. Or maybe this feels more like going into kind of a camel pose. And then slowly uncurling from that and coming back into yourself. And just move to a comfortable standing posture, whatever that means for you. So for me, it means that my feet are maybe a little bit closer than hip width apart. And I want to do a little bit of what we were working on last week, was very slow, intentional kind of rediscovery of some of the body and how we connect with the mat. So what I want to have you focus on is this idea of kind of lifting up and in and back. So think about this energy kind of pulling up and almost kind of lifting you up, tipping you back. I'm exaggerating it. We won't do it this much. But while this energy is kind of pulling up and going up, you want to feel that you're grounding into your heels, pulling your butt kind of down as I physically pull my butt down. That's why I get 3 views on YouTube. But you want to have that kind of opposing energy. So moving up, pulling down. And so as we hold on to that for a little bit longer with some breath work, as you're doing that, I want you to think about, again, heart center and that kind of cracking open. So really kind of getting caught up in that energetic flow. So I'm going to do this facing forward. You might already be doing it because you're amazing students. But whatever position you're in to begin with, think about those heels. Make sure the heels feel like they are grounding. Don't kind of roll forward onto your toe base. And then once you really kind of tap into the heels, really making contact with the ground or your mat, you're going to feel that kind of pull down of the butt, maybe feeling some more stretching in the low back. And then think about that upward forward energy where your core is pulling up and back. And then maybe starting to add a tiny bit of a crescent here, a little bit of an arch in the back as your shoulders start to come open. And maybe you can get your shoulder blades to move a little closer together. Your head is probably starting to tip back a bit at this point. Loosen your jaw, catch some flies. And then if you're anything like me, my hands are really tense now. So I'm going to try and keep the tension in my entire body, the up and down energy, all of these things. And then I'm going to try and relax my hands fully and completely, all while still breathing. We're going to slowly reverse this by folding in on ourselves. So letting the shoulders roll forward. So creating that expansion across the back, knees are starting to bend. Your chin is tucking into the chest and you're slowly lowering those hands down towards the mat. Let's start to come into a little bit of a flow. So I'm going to slide my hands up to around the knees, kind of upper part of the shin anyway. This is our flat back position. You should feel your butt is pulling back, your crown. Everybody has a crown. And if you don't, you should get one because you're amazing. But yeah, your butt's going back. The crown of your head is pulling forward. Again, the yin and the yang. Shoulder blades move together. And then slowly folding back forward, but maybe there's a little bit more tension in the legs, a little bit more formality. Drop the head. You can bend the knees slightly, grab some energy, pull it all the way up. And as you're pulling up, think about that front energy. The tightening heels are grounding, butt's pulling down, and then we lift this energy up. Stretch tall. Maybe again, leaning back, open through the chest. And then we're going to slice down. So this is a forward fold, touch the floor. Inhale, move to a flat back, shoulders are rolling away, tight through the core. Exhale, bring your fingertips down to the floor. So you're gonna frame your feet. Then I'm gonna step my right foot back as far as I'm comfortable with. So hang out in this lunge for a moment. I'm doing a whole ton of corrections here. And then I'm like, oh, but I've got company. So I'm going to focus on everybody at the same time. So if you're like me and your butt's way up high, see about encouraging or inviting it to drop down a bit. It might be possible. If it's not, you can stay up in the air, but at least you tried. And you asked the question. Oh my goodness, there's a big spider. Ugh. That was unpleasant. But I didn't squash it. I'm getting better at that. Okay, so from here, let's take a moment and just drop down to that knee, uncurl your toes. Check your breath. Check your shoulders aren't in your ears. I'm gonna bring my hands together. So thumbs are touching. This is towards the right side of the mat. I'm weight bearing on my right knee. And my left foot is at the front of the mat. So if you haven't done this posture for a while, because why would you? You can kind of just hang here, keep the breath deep. Maybe you want to just bend the elbows a little bit. You could twist into this a little ways. And then find your way back out of it. Flip your back toes. I'm going to bring my hands apart. Push back up on that back leg. And then I'm going to kind of push back and then step forward. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale. We're going to swan dive back down. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, hands come to the mat. So we're framing our feet, and by that I mean that your feet are kind of side by each. Your hands are either a little bit forward or, who am I kidding? Our hands are forward. I'm like, they might be back, but if they're back, you're going to be in more of a squat. So your hands are going to be slightly forward from the feet and apart. So we're going to move the left foot back, stepping back here. And hang out for a moment in the lunge. Again, think about if your butt is really lifted, invite yourself to kind of sink into the posture. And then I'm going to bring both of my hands together on the left side of the mat. I'm going to sink down to that back knee. And this is where we're going to play a little bit with maybe bending elbows, maybe adding a little bit of a twist here. Let's bring the hands apart. I'm going to pop up off of that knee, little rock back and forward until you're comfortable stepping the feet together. float to a flat back, forward fold. Grab that ball of energy, pull it all the way up. And then bring the hands to the heart. So hang out here for a moment, breathe. Close your eyes and think about the heels pushing into the ground and that forward motion lifting up. Let's open the eyes. Let's sweep the arms up into the air. So bigger kind of, often we bring the hands right together or they're really well aligned, kind of rolled in. Have a wider kind of arm span here, almost like you're holding a hula hoop. So I'm going to come back to the front of my mat. Definitely that's where you would want to be. My feet are about hip width apart. And holding the arms in this position, I want you to slowly from the waist, start to twist to the right. Keep your hips forward. So go only as far as you're comfortable. For me, that's not far because I'm keeping my hips facing forward. Come back to center and then slowly twisting to the left. Make sure you're still breathing. Move to center. Once more, move to the right. Maybe you can go a little bit further this time. Back to center. And then to the left. Back to center. Good. Stretch the arms up. Slicing down, forward fold. Inhale, lift to a flat back, pull your shoulders away. Exhale, hands come down. We're going to step the right foot back and stay in your lunge. Again, if you can lower down a little bit. I'm going to weight bear onto my right hand. And then with my left arm, I'm going to sweep up into the air. So now I'm looking up to that left hand in the air. And as I exhale, I'm going to bring that left hand down and under the right arm. So I'm doing a lifted thread the needle. So I'm pushing it through. And then I'm going to inhale, reach up for the sky. Exhale, thread the needle. Inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, thread the needle. Releasing the hands, framing that foot, step forward. Inhale, lift to a flat back, shoulders roll away. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, slowly sweeping up, however feels best to you. Reaching as tall and as high as you can. And then slice down. Big breath out, really dump the air. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Let's step the left foot back. So we're in our lunge. If your bum needs to drop, it can. Mine needed to because it was way up at the roof. I'm going to weight bear onto the left arm, left hand. I'm going to inhale, reach up with that right arm. If it's comfortable, you can start to twist back, but take it easy if this is new. And then as I exhale, I'm going to thread the needle, bringing that right hand through under the left armpit. And then inhale, reaching up. This is really hard. Let's exhale. Thread the needle. Inhale, open, reach for the sky. Exhale, thread the needle. And then we're going to inhale, reach for the sky. And I think that's when we bring the hands back to the mat and then rock, step forward. Inhale to a flat back, shoulders roll away, and then dump the air forward fold, slowly rolling up. Let's bring the hands to the heart. Let's bring our feet wider than hip width apart while we just kind of relax into a moment of calm. Let the knees be a little bit bent. Let the shoulders be soft. Notice what's happening around you. And we notice by listening or looking, observing. And just notice. And then notice the feeling of your feet on the mat. Notice where your shoulders are sitting. Notice if your hands are resting gently against each other or if you're gripping like, please God, let this class be over. Notice what's happening in your jaw. And if it's tense, add a small smile. And slowly releasing the hands down. If your eyes are closed like mine, where you can open your eyes. We're going to do a little bit of a twist here. Just go at a pace you're comfortable with. The arms are swinging free. So this is a great little break to kind of a more, I guess, aggressive practice. But it's great for opening the heart because as we do this range of motion, we actually release a lot of tension in the upper body, which causes us to either roll forward on ourselves or to be stuck in a more protective pattern. Maybe pick up the pace a little bit, let the knees bend as you go side to side. The other reason why this is so great when we're doing heart opening is because often when you do this, you feel like a little bit of a goofball. But if the heart is open, and if we are sharing compassion with ourselves, then looking like a goofball does not matter. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. And then just slow it all down. Good. Let's come to the bottom of the mat. So from here, we're going to do a standing crescent, and then we're going to add some cactus arms. Then we're going to come down and do that in a lunge on the mat. So similar upper body work, similar lower body work, but notice how it shifts based on being up in the world or a little bit lower. So I'm going to bring my feet just a little bit, probably a little bit closer than hip width apart. I'm going to bring my left foot out on an angle to begin with for stability. My right foot's going to step way the heck forward. So we start in this pyramid. Again, orient yourself to what's happening in yourself, what's happening as you kind of connect with the mat. And then we're going to slowly start to move into our standing lunge, which is really kind of the foundational piece of a warrior one posture. So we'll start with a more traditional warrior one. As we bring the arms up into the air, I am going to roll them in closer to my ears, starting to pull the shoulder blades together. I'm going to sink a little bit more deeply into this posture. And as you're getting comfortable with this, think about, is all my weight in the front leg? Is it all in the back leg? And you want to make sure that it's kind of even. Now you can stay here, or you can stretch up through your fingertips. Bring your gaze up towards your hands. And then as much as you find comfortable, start to lean back a tiny bit, arching through the back. Breathe deeply and be mindful of balance. Keep connecting with the feeling from your feet. Let's bring the arms down. My leg's talking back to me. We're going to go a tiny bit more here. Bring the arms up and open into cactus arms. Big jazz hands, elbows are moving away from the body, sinking deep into that lunge. Deep breath in, stepping forward. Take a breath. Sometimes I manage to plan these things out so I end up perfectly back where I need to begin. That didn't work that time, if that's okay. This time around, I'm going to move my right foot out on a slight angle and step my left foot forward. Excuse me, Jeff. You're probably able to do it in one step, whereas I'm taking a few because of my friend. Let's sink into that lunge. I always love noticing for a hot minute the difference between left and right. And then we'll sweep the arms up, moving into our warrior one. Now from here, if it is comfortable, start to reach those fingertips up towards the sky. Slowly looking up towards those hands as maybe you hinge back a tiny ways. Keep breathing. Maybe you're going deeper in the lunge. And then slowly releasing the arms down. Keep that foundation of the posture tight. And then bring your arms into cactus. Really open up through the chest, big hands. Breathe a lot. And then step forward. Beautiful. From here, sweeping up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, hands to the floor or fingertips. Step back to a downward facing dog. Move on to your hands and your knees. Curl your toes under and sink back into a child's pose. Pull your hands back closer to the knees and just push yourself up. Uncurl those toes and just move into a seated hero posture. Excellent. Just checking our time. So roll your shoulders back. And then let's just drop onto the hip or the bum. And let's bring the soles of the feet together. Hands on your ankles. Bring the shoulders back. Chest is proud. Take a moment here to breathe, maybe closing the eyes. So as you continue to breathe, let the knees start to slowly kind of drop, opening up through the hips. Notice if you're holding the ankles for dear life as I was. I'm going to try and relax the hands a little bit. Good. Stretch that. To release the posture, you're going to bring your hands just under the knees, start to push them up together, and then just gently folding into yourself, hugging the knees. Hold. Good. From here, we're going to move back into hello, Ted. Ted's very much enjoying this part of the class, I feel. We're going to move onto a posture now, back onto the hands and knees. And carrying on with what we were doing in our standing lunges. It's so hard to explain the level of cuteness that is in my face right now. My goodness, Ted. So I'm going to bring my left foot forward. And I'm going to bring my hands apart. So I think that rather than go into a lifted lunge, I think it would be more appropriate to move through those postures with one knee on the floor like this. If you want to have kind of a more physical and more balance focused experience, definitely pop yourself up. But I'm going to give cueing for this position on the mat. Again, the knee that's on the mat, if you need to double up, no bum sniffing. If you need to double up any padding under your knee, then go for it. And slowly we are going to lift up. So we're hanging out here for a few extra moments, breathing really deeply. And the deep breath is going to help balance. This is supposed to be hard. Remember, open heart, no judgment. So if you're feeling comfortable, you can start to sweep the arms up. You could keep them on the hips or on the thigh. And I'm going to stretch my fingers up and the tiniest amount of leaning back. This time I want you to keep your gaze forward. See if it's comfortable to slowly open your arms up into a cactus. Breathe deeply. And then bring your hands forward and down. Oops. Switch sides with your legs. When you're feeling comfortable, come on up. Take a moment to settle into this posture. Get a feel for, is this your more balanced side? Is this your wobblier side? I'm actually undecided. And then if you're ready, lifting the arms up, reaching up through your fingertips, maybe leaning back a tiny bit. And again, just because of balance and we're towards the end of the practice, you could look up, but you could also keep your gaze forward. If your gaze is forward, make sure you're lifting through the chest. Breathe a lot. And then slowly move into your cactus arms. Let's bring the hands down to the floor. Sweep the foot around. I'm going to bring my knees further apart. And this time I'm going to push all the way back into a deeper child's pose. Push your way up from the child's pose. And we're going to make our way down onto our backs on the mat. I'm going to make a figure 4 with my legs. So I'm going to keep my right leg, my right foot on the floor, my right knee is bent, and I'm going to cross my left foot over. If it's comfortable for you, you could apply a little bit of pressure to the inside of that knee, just kind of pushing the knee away. You can add some side to side motion, just really whatever feels good for you, whatever you need in this moment. But keep that breath deep. You could stay there in the figure 4, or you could pop the right foot off the mat and pull stuff into the body in whatever way feels good. Maybe you're reaching through the middle of that figure 4, hands around the knee. Maybe you're coming around the side. Maybe you're just pushing from the foot, whatever feels good. And then encourage whatever feels good to feel better by letting the shoulders release into the floor. And that might mean that you need to release the legs, but that's okay. Let's move to the other side. So create that figure 4. And if it feels like a good idea, you can pop that left foot, left leg up, pulling stuff in. For the hikers and the walkers, this stretch is so important. We rush through it. I know I rush through it, or I ignore it for weeks on end if I'm not doing yoga. It's really like, it's such an important stretch. And I don't think we do it enough. Let's release this posture, pulling the knees into the tummy. If it feels good, once more, cactus arms. Lowering the legs all the way to the left hand side, head turns to the right, shoulder pushes into the floor. Breathe deeply. Let's slowly switch sides. And let's move back to center. Move into whatever posture is your best for Shavasana or your best for right now. Just totally peace out. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes, and then think about moving your head from side to side. Keep the breath deep, let all of that great energy circulate. And then pull the arms up over top of the head. Have a huge stretch. Stretch your legs and your feet. And then grab your knees, pull them into the tummy, give yourself a huge hug. And when you're ready, roll up or push up into a seated posture. And once the breath calms again after all of that moving around, bring your hands back to that butterfly position we started with. And just spend a few moments kind of working your way back into that slow and gentle butterfly hug breath. And let one hand rest on the heart. And then the other hand, rest on that hand on the heart. Namaste. Amazing work. Notice how you feel over the next little while. I hope the rest of your evening's going to be amazing. And just keep coming back to throughout the days ahead, thinking about how can we physically get our heart to be open so that spiritually and emotionally and intellectually we can allow the heart to be in a better position to both give and to receive. And if you can do that, I think we will all be in great shape for this upcoming week. So thank you. Have an amazing night.
Thank you so much. That was lovely.
Thank